The authentic Italian table, il Panino Gourmet edition. You know, Panino is the translation, I guess, of sandwich. I was reading today on internet. Sandwich obviously comes from the Earl of Sandwich, a gentleman in the 18th century that had a terrible vice. He was an incredible gambler and he couldn't leave the table. And so he had to eat sometimes. And that's why they used to bring in these sandwiches. But I was also reading that during the Roman kingdom, Romans were hanging out in a street called Via Panisperna. The translation of this street is Panis ac perna, which means bread with leg, the leg of the pig, bread with prosciutto. So who was before there? The panino italiano, the sandwich inglese? We don't know. But whatever it is, we have a great chef that will tell us tonight and will give us some fantastic recipes. The authentic Italian table, il Panino Gourmet webinar, is part of the True Italian Taste initiative mandated to the Eco-Canada by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation for the promotion of authentic, certified Italian food and wines. The program features master classes, seminars, educational tours, and tasting events organized through the Italian Chamber of Commerce network, of which ECO is part, and which includes 75 offices located in Canada and throughout Europe, North and South America, Asia, Africa, and Australia. Last week, we had Michelin star Claudio Sadler from Milan. Today, we have a friend of the Chamber, a strong supporter of the Chamber, a fantastic chef, and a person that is really the pride of Canada, Chef Rob Gentile, a first-generation Canadian, born to Italian parents. Chef Rob Gentile's earliest memories are from his grandmother, mother's garden and kitchen. His first restaurant job at the age of 13. He entered George Brown's culinary school. By 18, he found his first role in a professional kitchen at North 44 under the celebrated chef Mark McEwen. After 10 years of moving up the ranks from line cook to chef de cuisine at McEwen's top restaurant, Chef Rob was ready for a new challenge. He soon joined Peter Tsvelis and Gus Jadzizidis of the King Street Food Company to take the helm of Buca. The restaurant opened in 2009 and quickly became one of Toronto's most sought-after dining destinations and is considered one of Canada's best. Chef Rob Gentile has been participating in some events of the True Italian Taste project in the past, since for his first year in 2016. And we're happy to have him here back tonight. Tonight, Chef Rob Gentile will be preparing two delicious focaccia sandwiches, focaccia al pomodoro, focaccia ai frutti di mare, with authentic and certified Italian ingredients. The products used are available at grocery stores that carry selected, authentic imported products. And now I would like to talk 1 minute about our MC, our Michel Jobin. Michel Jobin is another friend of the Chamber, a fantastic TV personality, a producer and a writer with over a decade of experience in broadcast and online media covering lifestyle, weather, and news content. Recently, Michelle joined a group of media and influencers from North America for an educational tour through Umbria as part of the True Italian Taste Project. I would like to steal another minute and we'll go straight then to Michelle and to Rob Gentile. Upcoming ICCO Canada events, the few events that are related, tutti a tavola, cooking classes on Tuesday. The focus will be Calabria and the prosciutto di Parma. And then wine masterclasses on Thursday, week of Italian cuisine and pentola d'oro in November, November 23rd till November 27th. ICCO Canada is always organizing events, in particular in the area of food. And I really invite all of you to look at our activities, our calendar, and maybe to consider the idea of becoming a member. Please keep following us on the social media. And now I really would like to ask to Chef Rob Gentile to start, please.
Corrado, grazie. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I wanted to take a moment to welcome everybody and thank you for being here tonight to cook along with us or to watch Chef Rob make these incredible recipes. Rob, I'm very excited, having seen all the ingredients and the recipes, about what we're going to make tonight.
Well, I got a little lineup for you tonight and everybody watching at home. I think that, you know, when I was first approached and I was asked whether or not I should, you know, come up with these ideas and cool creative ways of using, you know, Italian ingredients in a panino, I was like, well, that's an interesting kind of twist on doing a recipe. You know what I mean? I'm not typically used to making sandwiches for people, but it's interesting that I was asked this because a panino in Italy is a sacred thing. You know, it's a thing that people savor. People will go for a panino, okay? And it's typically a lunch, but I mean it's done in many different ways, and it's kind of a ritual, I guess you can say. I mean, you've been to Italy. I've been to Italy. Next time we're gonna go together and we're gonna have another one of these amazing ingredient trips. But you know, when I experienced my first paninos in Italy were these incredible little shops. You know, some of them were literally, you know, just street side facing, and people would kind of gather around, order a panino, get a glass of wine, and kind of hang out in the alleyway or on the street or sit on the sidewalk. And that was like, I was like mind blown by I'm like, oh my God, this is the most incredible thing ever. We're having sandwiches and we're drinking wine on the street. It's amazing. Right?
It is amazing, and I love that you describe it as being sort of a ritual, and how specialized the people that make these things and sell them would be, and of course using the best possible ingredients, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, panino shops or sandwich shops or focaccierias are a thing, you know, and in kind of in North America, yeah, we all love a good sandwich, but it's not at the level of the Italians and the way that they, you know, savor or you know, really feel about their sandwiches. So I did a couple different ones, and like I said, you know, mine are kind of reminiscent of, you know, a little bit more rustic, a little bit more ingredient forward, and mine are just meant to be one of those delicious, you know, sometimes wet and gooey, wicked bread, and like just like, you know, a satisfactory kind of focaccia. So
that sounds amazing. And I wanted to let everybody know, if for those of you that are joining us today on Zoom before Chef Rob gets cooking here, if you have questions, we will get to those. So I want you to add them into the chat. If you're joining us on Zoom right now, just type them in. I'll try to get to some of them as Chef is cooking, but then we'll also have some time for some Q&A at the end. So I'm very excited about this. And Rob, I understand that the two recipes that you're making tonight are really very particular to you in terms of memories from when you had these type of items in Italy. This is sort of like a personal memory sort of thing that you've come up with the recipes.
For sure. I mean, it's interesting because you can have focaccia or panino in Italy, and they're really, really, really creatively done. I've had incredible paninos in Firenze or Florence, where I mean it's like a panino bagnato. All my Italian people who are watching or travelers, a panino bagnato is a very particular tripe sandwich that's like literally translates to wet sandwich, and it's literally a wet sandwich, and you have to kind of like hunch over and eat it. And I've had incredible tartare sandwiches where it was just full of like raw beef that's been chopped up really, really fine with like preserved zucchini, and I've had all sorts of really cool, interesting seafood sandwiches, believe it or not. And braised rapini and like green vegetables that have been cooked out really, really soft. So I've kind of created, the best use of ingredients that I have available to me and inspired by all of my sort of experiences when I was there. I'm going to start off with cooking a little bit of octopus. Everybody, I believe, has access to my octopus recipe online.
Yes.
So if you guys want to attempt this at home, please feel free to get her done. This octopus is something I love, and a lot of people really love. A lot of people order it in restaurants. It's very, very popular in terms of chef's prepared, one of the chef's prepared ingredients or items in a restaurant. But people don't really make it at home unless you're like super experienced and you're like nonna and you really know how to cook your octopus or Zio or whoever.
Or you.
I want to show everybody how really simple it is to cook octopus.
Okay.
It's just so easy and everybody can make it at home. So for the sandwich, I'm going to start off with our DOP olive oil, okay?
All right.
Olive oil in the pan, okay? And then I'm just going to take a couple garlic cloves, lots of ingredients from my garden, okay? Always garlic in the pan, and I'm going to take a chili pepper, right?
Wonderful.
Cut it in half, and throw that right into the hot oil. And you guys can see, okay? I'm just frying off the garlic a little bit.
Chef, do you think people get intimidated about octopus or other seafood because it's such delicate timing, or why do you think that is?
I think so. I think that it's one of those ingredients that you kind of have to know in order to cook it, accurately. And that's why I want to kind of give everybody a little bit of an understanding of octopus. It starts off very, very rubbery and unedible, and then as it cooks out, it starts to tenderize through the cooking process slowly and slowly and slowly. And then there's a point where it's going to be just perfect. And that's where people need to get an understanding of when to stop or how much further to go. That makes sense.
That does make sense. Okay, so you're chopping up a little something there extra to add in?
Okay, so herbs from the garden, right into the hot oil. I put parsley, I put some basil, I put some fennel prawn in there, okay? And then I have my octopus here. These are the baby octopus.
Okay.
Okay? And I blanched them in hot water.
Good to know. How long would you do that? About a minute?
Like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
What that does is it kind of gets a lot of the funkiness out of them. Is the word I kind of use. Look, Nonna will throw it into the pan and cook and use all that juice and reduce that juice, and it gets all gelatinous. It gets super intense and thick. North American clientele, not so much. I love intensity. Depends on what you like. So to kind of alleviate that, you blanch it. That makes sense,
okay.
Right?
Now, I have a question a little bit about when buying octopus to cook at home. Is it best to use baby octopus, or is it just sort of apples and oranges, whether you're using the baby variety? It's going to be a different effect, I assume, versus a full grown.
Okay, so baby octopus, small octopus, medium-sized octopus, giant octopus, they're all different in their own special way. And they're all, I guess, different in texture. The baby ones, you can literally eat whole once they're cooked. And then once you start to get into larger ones, you kind of have to clean them, separate the legs, chop them up, small pieces, large pieces, slice them, and then doneness times like a thick steak or a thin steak vary. Okay?
Okay. Now, for those of us that are cooking along with you, should they be warming up their octopus, or is it okay to use it cold? The prepared.
Warm up.
Warm it
Warm it
up.
up.
There you
Good
go,
idea.
Absolutely.
Okay. We got some questions going on there. Let me just finish this pan. Okay, so deglaze with white wine. And you guys can see, okay, I deglaze with white wine. Okay, turn the heat up. And now, all I'm going to do now is add tomatoes. And that, just some nice DOP Samaritanos. Okay, white wine's going to cook out. And now, basically what happens here is you're going to create a sauce, and it's going to simmer. Always wipe your kitchen down, right? Just
clean as you go.
Few and then what's going to happen is that's going to simmer down. It's going to cook, and you know, I wouldn't even season it because octopus has a natural saltiness to it. So don't even season it. Let it simmer. Turn the heat once it comes up to a simmer. Turn the heat down nice and low. And then what you want to do is you want to kind of monitor it. You want to stir it and you want to taste it. And what's going to happen is that as time progresses and then, you know, at about the 45-minute mark, because they're small octopus, they're going to start to get tender. And this is why, like, I mean, I made that in 5 minutes, right? It's done.
Yeah.
It's literally done. All you need to do is just keep an eye on it. Tomorrow you're going to make octopus, right, Michelle?
So yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I have to tell you, my husband ate all of the octopus. He made this already for lunch, so I'm ahead of you. I have a question actually from Deborah. If we can use frozen octopus. Yeah, he ate all the octopus. It's gone, so I got to come over and get some.
Yes, so typically frozen octopus is what you're going to get here. You will get special shipments in. We get them depending on our relationship with our seafood purveyor, but we'll get fresh Moscardini, which are baby octopus, and fresh Canadian octopus also become available. But typically, you're going to find frozen octopus thawed out, and happy days. Octopus is one of the most freezable fish that you can find.
Okay.
Right? They're calamari, octopus. They all freeze very, very, very well. Okay.
Perfect.
So here, I'm going to show you guys the pan.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, if you guys can see that.
Beautiful.
Okay, simmering away. Okay, parsley, garlic, chili pepper, olive oil, white wine, happy days, tomato sauce, and we're good, right?
So ideally you could make this the day before you want to have the panino, the focaccia frutti di mare. Okay, so you're good to go. And then you could probably use this for other applications as well, couldn't you?
Anything you want. Anything you want. You can make it for dinner. You can put it in a sandwich. You can serve it with wilted greens, kind of like what I'm going to do in the sandwich. But as a main dish, however you like. You can even serve them cold. You can do a white version of it without tomato sauce and serve it for like aperitivo with lots of olive oil. There's lots of things you can do, okay? So that's going to cook out. And then what I have here, okay, are the beautiful baby octopus that have been cooked out, okay, in tomato sauce, okay, ready to go, happy days. Okay? And that's the prime ingredient in our sandwich. So, panino. You have a question?
Well, someone is saying that you're standing too close to the camera, but I understand that you're actually kind of giving us a close-up of the ingredients, I assume. But there you go. There you go. We can see you. Perfect.
Can you see where my workstation?
There you go. Look, everything looks great. There you go. Extreme close-up of the focaccia.
All right.
And Chef, I understand that you made all of these yourself, too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's been a busy day.
The breads that were delivered out to the people who had signed up for it were all baked at the restaurant. And I mean, bread is very, very, very important when you're making a panino. I can't stress that enough. It's probably the most important ingredients. Of course, everything that goes inside it is going to make a big difference. But if you have not so great bread, you're going to end up with a not so great sandwich. Okay? So these were all baked yesterday. These are focaccia. Okay? Now, I love a thinner sandwich. I'm a big fan of the pressed sandwich, you know, you get in the panino shops.
Yeah. And that was actually a question, because most people were saying, I'm used to seeing a pressed panino. That was one of the questions. And is that more of a North American thing? That happens in Italy, though, of course, right? Getting that pressed down.
Huge in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Huge in Italy. And I mean, it's just a different way of panino. You can even cut a pizza, like a thicker pizza, in half and stuff it. Mortadella and tomatoes and all sorts of things like that. That's a thing.
Okay.
Thicker, rounder paninos are a thing. Loaves of bread that are sliced to use to make a sandwich are a thing. And focaccia, whether or not they're pressed or whether or not they're a thicker version of it, whatever you love. So
personal preference.
Yeah. So here we got a beautiful focaccia. And so for this particular dish, sandwich, I got octopus, I got cooked out rapini, which I'll show you guys. Okay. Cooked out rapini. And we did garlic, pepperoncino, which is like a chili pepper, olive oil, cooked out rapini, soft, chopped it up a little bit. It's an incredible sandwich ingredient. Okay.
And it's something, I don't think I've had it on a sandwich before. I'm used to eating it sort of in other ways, but it's a great idea.
I know. It's like, I think that everybody has just gravitated toward, the cold cuts or the salumi or cured meats and cheeses that are harder, that are typically sandwiches, right? Mm-hmm. But you can get some amazing versions of like braised meats and, short ribs, or even, like I said, like braised tripe and things like that, cooked out seafood. And you can do the same thing with like, clams that have been shelled, make a wicked sandwich. Calamari makes an amazing sandwich, right?
Okay.
So,
I'm here for that.
Amazing. Okay.
Amazing.
So the octopus is going to go down.
Okay.
On the sandwich. Okay, and I'm just going to pull it right out.
And again, for all of you that you have questions, we also have a Q&A portion at the end of the recipes as well. So I will get to as many of your questions as I can. But someone was asking, when it comes to the baby octopus, do you chop the heads off the baby octopus?
No.
And do they have a hard backbone like the big octopi have?
Good question. So the answer is no. You don't need to take the head off of a baby octopus. You can eat the whole thing. That's why I love them.
Okay.
It's kind of, and they're typically already cleaned. If you buy them frozen, they're already cleaned. So unlike calamari, you kind of got to clean the tubes and go inside and take the tentacles off and process them that way. A baby octopus, you can eat it completely as it is, and it's the most delicious thing ever.
Right. And I assume, again, for those of us looking to buy any kind of produce or any kind of seafood, there is a question about, assuming you get yours from your supplier, where do the rest of us get it? I'm assuming from a fishmonger you trust, and or you buy them frozen, or, the best place to get octopus.
Yeah, we have one of the fish shops we use is called Newport. They have a couple of locations here in Toronto. Hooked will have octopus. They're primarily a Canadian seafood purveyor.
Yeah.
The Newport locations will bring in Portuguese or Italian or any kind of European type of seafood. So you can get it. You just got to go look for it. It's definitely not going to be in your grocery store.
Right.
So,
exactly. So specialty, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. You got to
all right,
think like a chef and act like a chef, and you're going to go after the best stuff, right?
That's right. And it's looking good so far. So the rapini, again, with the bitterness, it's really going to add, I think, a lot to this, especially when you've got the garlic, you've got the pepperoncino on there. It's going to add a lot of flavor to the sandwich as well.
For sure. So, I'm a rapini, and, if you're grew up the way I grew up, everything is cooked out with garlic and pepperoncino, all the green vegetables you can imagine. Rapini being one of them. Swiss chard also being one of them. Kale is also a wonderful ingredient that could be cooked out and used in the same way, especially in a sandwich. Okay, so cooked out greens, excellent ingredient for sandwiches. I can't stress that enough. Also great for dinner on the table. So I put octopus on the bottom. I put the rapini on top. I'm going to give it a little drizzle of olive oil.
Good quality olive oil. Wonderful. Okay. What kind of white wine would you cook the octopus with?
I'm using a Pinot Grigio, and it was what
Okay.
my wife just cracked open before I started.
I mean, it does come down to practicality, but obviously don't cook with something you wouldn't drink, right?
Exactly. And good shout out on that. And because that's what we do. I mean, sometimes there's no wine because we drank it all, but
That never happens.
if you can plan properly and drink while you cook, if you're gonna have a glass of wine, always use what you're drinking. Don't buy cheap stuff that doesn't taste very good, because it's gonna make your food not taste very good. If that makes if everyone understands that. So
okay, so
olive oil drizzled, and then I got the Parmigiano cheese. Okay, and I grated this super fine, and I want to show you guys some tricks and tips and techniques. Okay.
yes.
So Italian people know the Italian side of the grater, and that's the side that will take your knuckles off clean. Okay.
That's right.
You guys got to be careful. Use something when you're holding that piece of cheese to grate on that. But what's going to happen when you use that side of the grater, not that side of the grater, not that side of the grater, is that you get this wonderful, beautiful, powdery Parmigiano that it's magical. Okay, everything you put it on is going to taste different, particularly the way you grate it. So I can't stress that enough, right?
Okay, that's good to know.
Powdery Parm on the top.
A liberal amount.
Good amount. Okay, and then on the top, I'm going to put bomba sauce. Okay, bomba sauce is typically Calabrese. I mean, Calabria on the southern toe of the country is where all the chili peppers are and where everybody eats super spicy food. I don't know the history of why the Calabrese love chili peppers so much, but it has to do with them particularly growing there. But everything in Calabrese cuisine is spicy. Bomba sauce is one of them. Bomba sauce, if you don't know what it is and you've never cooked with it before, it's really a spicy condiment made of pickled vegetables. Okay?
Yes.
So it could be carrots, it could be peppers, it could be mushrooms, it could be celery. If I'm missing anything.
I think there's some eggplant in that one.
Eggplant, yes, good call. And then 50% chili peppers to it and oil.
That's what I like about it.
Right.
The spicy.
Good, right?
Yeah. Are there any sustainability issues with octopus at all? Is that a concern, or farmed, wild, anything like that?
I mean, there's always sustainability issues with anything in the ocean.
Of course.
So, I mean, I think you just got to, use a reputable fish supplier that knows where they're getting the ingredients from, and you can kind of ask the questions you need. And
yeah.
I've never heard of farmed octopus. They're typically all wild, and the Canadian ones can be gigantic, up to like 10, 15 pounds.
Right.
But I mean, you just got to know where your food's coming from. I love the Italian moscardinis. I also like the Portuguese ones. Canadian octopus are delicious. So, bomba sauce on the sandwich, on the top piece, and I'm going to kind of press that down.
Okay.
Let's see. That's going to taste good.
It's going to taste very good. Thank you for the close-up of that. Some of you cooking along? I hope so.
Now, I didn't add salt.
Assembling your panino?
Yeah, I didn't add salt to this one.
Okay.
Because, I mean, seasoning, what I could tell everyone is that seasoning is extremely important in a sandwich. Salt, pepper, seasoning in general. Season your sandwiches, believe it or not. Like, like if you go to like a sub shop and they put salt and pepper on it, that's because they want it to taste really, really good, and they're smart because you're going to like it and you're going to come back again. So when you make a sandwich, it's the same thing. If you slice up tomatoes or you slice up cheese, like I said, here, I know my octopus is going to be seasoned. I put salty Parmigiano on it. You want to make sure you season your sandwich, because it's a bland anything is not good.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut that in half because I want to show you guys a sandwich cross section, because the sandwich cross section is all what we care about.
Yes.
And that's going to taste really good.
It is.
Okay.
And again, if anyone's assembling this as we are going along, feel free to let us know in the chat what you think. It looks delicious. That's dinner right there for you. It looks delicious. Yeah, it definitely looks delicious.
That's my dinner today.
There's your dinner. Put that aside. And that's great. So was there any, what particular region of Italy does this one remind you of? Susie's saying it's amazing.
What I thought of when I thought of this one, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't so much the octopus, it was more the rapini.
Yes.
I mean, I love putting octopus in sandwiches, but the rapini was something I had in Rome. There was a very special market I went to. Katie Parla took me to she's an incredible food tour guide and food writer. And she took me to a market outside of Rome, which was specifically for locals, not in any way touristy. Although there are some that find it, you know, but it wasn't like a tourist hotspot. And there was a Panino stall that was there, and I had the most incredible sandwich. It was just braised meat, like it must have been a short rib or a brisket, and cooked out rapini, super soft,
Okay.
in a bun with lots of olive oil, soaked.
That sounds incredible.
Right? And you're holding it in a paper and you're eating it and the oil is dripping off your face. And it was just an incredible, memorable experience. And so I thought, oh my God, I got to do one with, you know, braised, you know, vegetables or rapini or something like that, because that's not something typically people would think, oh, I'm going to cook out vegetables and put them inside a sandwich, right?
Yes. Well, I love that you've done this. We're getting lots of great comments saying that's transporting them to Italy, just having this sandwich. And someone else, Jen, saying it's not a good sandwich if the ingredients aren't running down your arm.
Exactly.
We do have, right? If it's not messy, it's not a good sandwich. So if someone doesn't have a grater, let's just say someone doesn't have a grater with the cheese and they're trying to cook along with you right now, do they just slice it super thin?
One of these is good.
Toolbox. Yeah.
One of these is good. It's called a rasp.
Yeah, microplane. Right?
Microplane, or honestly, just use a peeler. That's a good trick. Everybody's got a vegetable peeler. Take a vegetable peeler down the side of the cheese. Do that, and if you don't have a vegetable peeler, just slice it with a knife. Chop it up. It's gonna taste good. Or if you're
like, just eat large chunks of it, like me. That's how I like my preparation. It'll be good on the sandwich too. All right, chef. We are lucky because we're making not one but two panino tonight. We're doing also the focaccia al pomodoro. Yeah. So with incredibly wonderfully delicious heirloom tomatoes, if you got them, and some incredible mozzarella di bufala as well.
Okay.
Which I had some of earlier today.
Yeah, my little intro to this one is you know, let's showcase the tomato and how special tomatoes that are tomatoes that are grown in season, outdoors, in the garden, right off the vine. Very, 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 very special. We're coming toward the end of the year of that period of time, and I encourage everyone to have a tomato ceremony and bless the last few that you get, because you're never going to taste it again until July, possibly, depending on the weather and our climate, the same. So tomato sandwich is incredible for me. It's memorable, and when you're talking DOP products, IGP products, and things like that, mozzarella di bufala, you could use a fior di latte if you can't find it. Specialty shops have DOP buffalo mozzarella, but like fior di latte are a lot more common, which is like a type of mozzarella. But at the end of the day, you want a nice, juicy piece of cheese. You want an incredible ripe tomato, and you can leave it at that if you want, and just put salt and olive oil.
I mean, that's beautiful just the way it is, but you're going to take things up a little bit more.
We're going to take it up a notch, and I got some beautiful pesto genovese DOP, and we're talking memories, and we're talking being in Italy. I can't wait to go back It's emotional for me. I'll tell you that. But just doing this sandwich demo, I'm talking about Florence, we're talking about Rome, we're talking about Genova, we're talking about Calabria, guys. It's like magical. And the reason why I say that is because I get emotional talking about it, because it doesn't, like, I love touring and eating, as everyone
I'm with you
sure does.
on that.
But the special thing about going to Italy and touring Italy and eating everywhere you go is that you're always going to find regional differences, regional specialties, regional dishes that are different from every other part. And I've gotten to the point now where the 50 times that I've gone in my lifetime, I'm still finding towns, smaller cities and regions where I've never gone before, and finding the most incredible things, and that are so inspiring too, because this is kind of like what I love. The creative juices start flowing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is, menu work. This is menu, thoughts and ideas. So I was just in the Dolomites pre-pandemic, and in the Dolomites I was experiencing incredible cuisine I didn't even know existed, and that happens to me all the time. Just every single time I go. So what I was going to say was, back to the pesto genovese. Okay. Specifically in Genova and in that entire region, they're just known for basil. Okay, believe it or not. Everyone's like, whatever, places are known for chili peppers, places are known for mozzarella, places are known for basil, specifically basil. A basil that's like a Genovese, type of basil that's been bred and born in that region. It's wild. Everything smells incredible. For me, basil is like, I can bathe in basil. But pesto genovese, if you're there and you've experienced the way that they make it, either in the market or in a restaurant, you're gonna come home, you're gonna want to make it. These are DOP. This is DOP pesto genovese that you can actually buy. So if you're intimidated by it and you don't want to try the process, then encourage you to buy it and keep it in your fridge. And whether or not it's on pasta or whether or not it's in a sandwich, it's the most amazing aromatic condiment you can imagine to put on any kind of sandwich.
It just brightens things up so much all the time and enhances the flavor. Yeah, it's a great thing. Someone did want to know about the bread. Are you toasting it or heating it up first at all? Or is that sort of a personal preference?
Good question. So, to answer your question, yes. My oven's on. I toasted the bread, because toasted bread, fresh out of the oven,
nothing like it.
It wakes up. The steam, the crust on the outside, the heat. It's a must, whether or not it's in a panino press or whether or not it's in your oven or out of your toaster. Even if you're doing sliced bread, hit it with some heat, hit it with some toast, and that's going to give you a very different sandwich. It's going to change your sandwich.
It'll change the flavor, absolutely, yeah, and the texture for sure.
So very, very good question.
Heat up your bread, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see you're slicing those. That's a beautiful tomato, by the way. You're slicing that very thin. If someone isn't going to make pesto genovese, are they able to, again, are we looking at a specialty store, somewhere like Cheese Boutique, or where would they buy it?
Yeah, a specialty grocery store will have pesto. The ones that went out today are pesto genovese DOP from Cheese Boutique. You can buy it there. But it's not a difficult ingredient to find. You can find pesto. It's definitely a lot more common than, say, octopus.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm loving all the vegetables we're getting in here. I mean, we don't give, we don't always think about sandwiches necessarily being the most healthy option, and it really depends on what you put in it. But you're using a lot of beautiful, fresh ingredients, the rapini, these beautiful heirloom tomatoes. You're getting, you're getting a lot of nutrition into this one very portable meal. But I love this. Look at those tomatoes. That's just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, sliced tomatoes, mozzarella. Okay. I'll put you guys like that so you guys can see.
Perfect. Everyone can see? Good.
And then
Yeah, we've got some people that have heated up the bread, so they're right along with you. I see you're hitting it with a little bit of salt there.
Yep. Okay, so
Okay.
what I'm going to do is, on the bottom, I'm going to put the pesto. Bottom or top, I mean, whatever you want. Okay. Spread it all around. You guys can see me?
Yeah.
Spread it all around. Okay. Now this is kind of like a jazzed up version of a tomato salad or tomato sandwich. So on the bottom, and then what the kits that went out today had a tomato condiment. So typically, what we would do in the restaurant when we're making tomato sandwiches and they're on the menu is that we would save all the trimmings and we would cook all the trimmings out and reduce it super thick into a condiment, season it, and then pass all the seeds and skins out, and then you have this beautiful paste so that we're not wasting pieces like that or the top piece where the core is. We save all that, right? So what we have here is exactly that. It's a tomato condiment, and it's just going to intensify the sandwich like you would layer with mayo or mustard or something like that on the sandwich.
Okay.
That's basically the idea behind it.
All right. Norma's got something to say.
Yeah, Norma's just people at my door dropping off.
That's the way it goes. All right, and you said you made this again out of parts of the tomato, like Norma. That's right. Norma approves of the sandwich. That's what's going on here. But I love that you made that tomato condiment out of the scraps of the tomato that might not get used. You know, great chefs are always all about sustainability because you don't want to waste anything in a kitchen because that's all about your bottom line as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You got to be creative, and things that go in the garbage 90% of the time shouldn't really go in the garbage. They're actually quite tasty. You just got to be creative on how to use them, and it's going to taste great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of salt, a little sea salt, season the tomatoes, okay? And then I'm going to layer it up, okay?
Wow.
I'm going to put 3 just because it's going to be a big hunk. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go 2.
That's a big tomato.
Yeah. So
okay.
2 slices of tomatoes, just because the tomato I had was giant. I'm going to go with some mozzarella. And then I'm going to hit it with a little extra salt. Okay. And then I'm going to drizzle olive oil over top because you can never have too much.
Beautiful.
Top of the bun. Can you guys see that? You guys can see that, right? Here.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's great.
Norma sees it too?
Yeah, she's waiting.
Yeah. If I'm cooking.
This could be Norma's dinner.
Okay. So the lid's going to go on. Now, you guys can see.
Yeah.
That's going to taste good.
That's a substantially delicious sandwich there. Yeah. I like the looks of that. Any wine pairing suggestions for this chef in terms of this panino or the other one as well?
So it's interesting that wine pairings come up, and I'm sure people are wondering, like, wine pairings with a sandwich, like, really, come on.
I sure am.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that yes, it's a thing. Like, people drink wine with paninos. Like, go to Italy, find the best sandwich shop. Wine will be on sale by the glass, where you can buy a pressed sandwich and get a cool rock glass or even plastic cup of wine, whether it's Barolo, whether it's white, whether it's Lambrusco. There's all sorts of different, things that they'll have on sale. And eating a panino and drinking a wonderful glass of wine is a magical thing. It really, really, really is. And so I would suggest, I'm saying, okay, look, you got 2 different sides of the equation here. You got octopus and you got rapini, super intense, super bitter. You can go Sangiovese big with that, or you can go, Lambrusco. And Lambrusco is a real awesome, lunchy, cold red that you can, I'm not a big fan of reds in the steaming hot summer. So Lambrusco is a really cool way to have a red with lunch if you want, right? And then on the other side of the spectrum, we got a killer tomato sandwich there with buffalo mozzarella. And I mean, I'm all about prosecco for lunch. I'm all about Franciacorta for lunch. I love whites of all sorts. So I would recommend a red for the octopus. I would recommend a white for the tomato sandwich, and you can go however you like.
That's
right?
great.
So here, I'll show you guys.
Oh, how's that octopus looking?
Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks great, doesn't it, everybody?
So it's honestly almost done. And the amount of time that we've been doing these two sandwiches, the octopus that I started, it's almost ready.
Okay. And then you can just heat it up again when you're ready to make your panino, right? All right. I wanted to just I want to get into some more of the questions that we have, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance, again, just to go over quickly about the importance of using DOP and IGP products, because there's several of them that have been used. You know, what specifically are you going to look for when you're cooking, whether it's for your restaurants or at home, when it comes to, hi, Reese.
This is Reese.
Start of the show. Hi, Reese. When it comes to DOP and IGP, oh, she's adorable. What specifically are you going to look for when you're looking at the ingredients that you're putting in these sandwich? What's the priority for you? Why are you looking for DOP and IGP products? And what should people look for?
So DOP, IGP, they're seals of authentication, you can call them. Okay, and basically what they do is identify products that are particularly special in many different ways. Okay, so DOP can be a very special product that's been either produced by a particular person that's got a very special recipe. It could be very ingredient focused, that it's a very specific place where something was grown. So DOP is the highest level of detail involved in terms of, you know, where it's been processed or produced or grown, something like that, right? So that's basically going to tell you it's the real stuff. And a lot of times you look at the label and you can read and you can find out exactly where it was like made, right?
Okay.
Whether it's a recipe or something like that, or grown. The IGP side of things, it's a little bit more of a broader spectrum. It could be an entire region. It could be an ingredient from a particular region used in a particular way to make whatever it is that's being made or grown. So it's a little bit more of a broader spectrum of seal of a, call it approval. But again, you know, when you look at those items and you read the labels, you can find out a lot of really cool information. You take this bottle of olive oil in particular, you read the back, it tells you a lot of really important information about where it came from, exactly where the olives were grown, and that's the difference in the detail of a product that's got one of those seals on it versus one that says made in Italy.
So this is perfect for things when we're looking at olive oils and cheeses and wine and things like prosciutto di Parma and all of those kind of very classic Italian ingredients. You want to make sure that you're getting the real thing and you're looking for these particular seals, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to determine, you know, you're going to really know if you look at them, you find those seals, you're going to really know that that's the authentic product and it's going to really taste good.
Yes,
I can tell you I've never come across a single DOP or IGP that didn't taste good. So
perfect. Someone wants to know if we could use burrata. I mean, I like your style. The person is saying, can we use burrata for this panino? Texturally a little bit different, maybe, but sounds good to me.
Burrata works. It's certainly going to be like wet, but if that's your jam, burrata is going to taste incredible.
You want a messier sandwich that tastes incredible, then there you go. And then how about the tomato condiment that you put on there? And again, some of us that are kind of cooking along that got the kit from Cheese Boutique and from you, does that have any acid in it? Does it have any vinegar, those sorts of ingredients or notes? Or
I don't. I didn't put any olive oil, tomato concentrate. No. So It doesn't, but I love vinegar.
Sure.
I'm a huge fan of red wine vinegar or white wine vinegar if it's like real wicked, amazing vinegar. I have my own vinegar that I have in the basement that I feed wine to. If I'm not drinking it, it goes in the vinegar bucket. But if you want to use vinegar because it's a tomato sandwich, by all means, drizzle a little bit of vinegar if you want acidity on there. But the tomato typically naturally has a nice acidity to it, and that's kind of what that tomato condiment does. When you reduce it, it's going to get much more intense, and you're going to have that brightness that's going to make you kind of salivate. And in essence, it's acidity.
Absolutely. Well, I think unless anyone else has any questions, I think we have maybe gotten through everything that's in the chat so far. And I'm sure your Panini are calling you at this one. Oh, what is the vinegar bucket?
Oh,
there we go.
Your bucket.
This is a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the vinegar bucket, I mean, I have a couple barrels at the restaurant that are, I would say, probably 50 years old now. My family made wine every year. So the interesting part of vinegar and salad, it all has a lineage that starts from winemaking process. So if you have ever made wine at home, you know that there's wine that's filtered, or maybe the bottom of the process that's not necessarily the best wine to drink when you're going and you're bottling it. That goes in the vinegar bucket. So to make vinegar for wine vinegar, it's a transformation of tartaric acid into acetic acid. So tartaric acid being wine, it converts through a fermentation process of going off. It turns into vinegar, right? So it gets super, super acidic. You lose the alcohol because it's turned, and you get vinegar. That's how vinegar's made. So the wine bucket, if you have this live vinegar, which is, you can get a real natural vinegar somewhere. A cool way, if you guys want to start it at home, is to get a natural unpasteurized cider vinegar, raw, unfiltered. Okay. And if you have wine that you don't drink, and you have red wine or you have white wine that you don't drink, depending on what angle you want to go, add it to the vinegar that's raw and pasteurized, and there's your vinegar bucket. So I have one from my family that I just always feed, depending on whether we drink the wine or not. But you guys can start your own vinegar bucket at home and have it in your cantina.
This is a great idea. Thank you, Chef. All right. Well, I mean, your dinner is certainly calling you at this point, and I think a lot of other people, I'm getting a lot of great comments on how awesome the panini are. Everyone's really enjoying them. They're appropriately delicious and messy. So Chef, thank you so much for taking us through these recipes tonight. Of course, all the recipes are going to be available as well for everyone so that they can recreate these at home. So I wanted to thank all of you so much. I also wanted to thank Chef for being here tonight, taking us into his kitchen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we're going to throw it back to Corrado right now as well.
Thank you, Michelle. I want to thank Rob Gentile, because Rob is really the last of a long line of intellectual artists, people that went to Italy and they keep going, discovering, in this case, the monuments, really, and the temples of gastronomy. Thank you, Rob, because what you are doing is an incredible experiment of philology and obviously an act of love. Thank you very much for tonight. It's always great to work with you, and it's always great to learn from you, really.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And Michelle, what can I say? Gentle, grace, but firm, inquisitive, fantastic questions, really. You know, it's a perfect combination. Thank you very much. Thanks to the audience that has been following us and before and now, and I hope you're gonna stay with us in the next future. And I have to thank the organizer of tonight's event, obviously Tiziana, Astrid, Isabella, and all my colleagues, Richard, Mary, Maria, and Mary. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.